Guys, we are here at Alex and Luke's place. Michaela's there doing a bit of editing for this week's video, but we realised I never filmed an intro to the video. So as I said at Hervey Bay, this week we're doing a bit of a bike build video. I had to get rid of my old bike this week, and then we organised a new one through Shane at Moto1, a 2020 450 for me, so that's awesome. Massive thanks to him and KTM for organising me a good price on that. Now we'll just keep editing here and we'll throw us into that. Move it this way, miss the toilet.
Oh
this
god.
way, hit the toolbox. Okay, so with racing pretty well being all done for the year, I have just got my new bike for my off season and everything. I wanted to do something a bit different in this video, run through something like everything I do when I get a new bike. I don't actually ride it straight away. I change a few parts, I do a few things before I even start it. So sort of want to run through why I do that, which parts, what I like and dislike about the stock stuff, just everything I'm going to do to a stock bike to get me comfortable. So I'll sort of run through each part as I change it over, as I break the bike down and build it back up, and then what I like and don't like about it. So hopefully you enjoy this one. It's going to be something a bit different, but I think it'll be cool. All right, so number one is the plastics. I always buy myself a fresh set of aftermarket plastics before I ever even ride the bike, for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously it comes all looking fresh, the bike looks awesome from stock, so I rip those off, then I've got them sitting spare for if I ever need one, plus hopefully I don't use them, and then at the end of the year or whenever I'm done with the bike, I can throw those plastics back on and the bike looks fresh again. It's one less thing I have to worry about before I sell the bike, and then whoever buys the bike obviously gets a real good looking bike. So that's number one. I'm going to rip the plastics off. Alright, so now plastics are all off. It's time, while the plastics are off, it's nice and easy, I'll slide the forks out and grease up the headset bearings.
Try to get some information. You guys there?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I had a weird noise on my seat. And
I'm on the edge of my seat, so.
Got the head stem off. So the reason for this one is, as you can see from the factory, they don't have a whole lot of grease on there. So I'll just use a bit of this Motor-X grease and just jam it in as much as I can everywhere. Just prevent having any issues later on. So greased up a bit more, just try to squeeze the grease into all the little bearings, get as much life out of that as we can. Now time to put it back on. So for my top triple clamp, I actually run a solid mounted clamp for the bars, because I just find when you fall over with the standard ones and the rubber, it just twists straight away. So I've got my own top clamp that's solid mounted. You fall over and you can just get back up and get straight back into it. And then on top of that, I've got the Necken handlebar. I don't have a sponsorship with Necken or anything like that, but I just run a bit taller bend, which is a bit different, I guess, because I'm a bit of a shorter guy. But so when I broke my neck, I hit the spinal cord, and my left shoulder was the biggest issue I had throughout the whole thing. Just wouldn't turn on, and even today I've still, a lot of my left deltoid doesn't actually work. The muscle's just dead. So I'm pretty weak there, whereas my lats, I'm still fairly strong. So by sitting my bars a bit taller, it's sort of, I can sit my elbows down and engage my lats more so than my deltoids. So that's the reason I run the taller bend. It actually feels pretty comfortable for me now too, so we'll chuck that on and get to the next bit. All right, got my top clamp, bars, levers, grips, everything on. Now, next step is suspension. So I don't use the standard WP air forks. I just find the air forks are super rigid, harsh, and it's just like over the little bumps, I feel like I've got no front end feel. So I'm lucky enough, I've got these WP cone valves and Trax shock that I run. It is expensive. Both those, the shock and the forks, are expensive, but I find for me, it's well worth the money. I'd much rather spend it on that than engine, because you feel comfortable, you go fast, and I notice massive difference in using this stuff. And I am with Raceline Performance for my suspension stuff, and the awesome thing about that is those guys are a race team as well as a workshop, so they basically do all the testing and everything with the team, and then you can just get that setting. So my fork setting is the exact same as Dean Ferris's. I just asked the boys, I just want to try that fork. It felt harsh and stiff initially, but now I've got used to it, I find I can charge stuff a lot more with that stiffer cone valve fork setting. And then the Trax shock, I've got a very similar setup to Dean. My setup's just a little bit softer because I did try his and I just didn't gel with it. Didn't really suit me. I am a fair bit lighter than Dean as well. So, yep, that's the next step. We're gonna chuck these fork and shock in. All right, got the forks in. Spoke about why I like them, how they feel. But let's be honest, they do look rad as well. Black forks look so sick. Right, next up is I'm going to change the shock out. So as I said, I run this WP Trax shock, but actually pair the Trax shock with a Pro Circuit linkage arm and knuckle. The idea behind that is the Pro Circuit linkage arm is a bit softer, which allows me to run heavier spring rate to what I would usually run for my weight. So what that does for me is it allows the bike to sit up a little higher in the turns, I find. So I don't really like it when the bike squats heaps around the turn, because I feel like the forks get real harsh and then start deflecting on bumps and that sort of thing. So I like the rake a little bit steeper, so if the shock sits a little higher in the rear, I can turn better and the front holds the ground. So that's why I run it. I know a lot of people still run the standard linkages, but I tried one. My buddy Johnny hooked me up with one like last year or the year before, and I haven't gone away from it. I did try it once and I just didn't like it. It's way too harsh feeling. I find this, although it's a heavier spring, it still seems to give me a pretty plush feeling with that linkage arm. So I run the Pro Circuit linkage with the Trax shock. So now we'll throw that in and we're getting pretty close. Right, shock and linkage is in, looking good. Next up, we got my brake lever. So something I've been working on a heap this year is trying to ride on my toes, on my balls of my feet. And when you do that, obviously you got a pretty big transition from here through to your brake and back. So what I did was I hit up my mate Keith from Furnication. I'll put a link in the video to build me a custom brake lever. So I just went and bought a stock one and just sent it to him. So it's exact same, except now, as you can see, it just sits that little bit further back. And I've even got another adjustment to bring it back further than that. And it just changes. So from now, I've only got to transition from here to there and back, rather than the whole distance. So that's been a huge deal for me. As you can see, you got all the adjustment points there. So I'm gonna throw that on because I reckon I'd struggle to even ride without it now. One of the last things now, this Pro Circuit T6 pipe, loaning from Raceline. PC pipe is on. I will be honest, I haven't actually tested with the stock pipe yet. on the 450. So that's something I'm looking to do later down the track. I want to just try the PC piston versus the stock one and just see what I feel. But I want to run that for now so I don't damage my brand new stock one. Another thing I'll do is generally I have a quick throttle because the KTM throttles are so long. But they do come with a different cam, a shorter cam, so I'm going to throw that in. And then if I still feel like it's too long, I'll go get another quick throttle. But for now, I'm just going to chuck in the standard one with the little bit shorter cam. Alright, getting pretty close to done now. Just going to slap on the plastics and see how she comes up. Bike work always takes me so much longer than I always expect it to. I was like, I'll smash that out in a couple of hours. Took me about 5 or 6 hours, but that's all good. She is all pieced together and looking unreal. So yeah, that's pretty well all I do to get my bikes ready. Get the bikes ready for a season, for racing, for training. Doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I sort of do the same stuff. Just basic, especially on the 450 now. I don't think I'm really going to do anything to the engine, even for race season, just because they're so fast already. We'll see after I put a few months on it before the 21 season if I'm feeling like I want some more. But at this stage, I think that's pretty well it. Got my shock, forks, rear brake lever, higher bend bars, quicker throttle, pro circuit pipe, and pro circuit linkage, and I think that's pretty well me. Oh, and of course my pit board on there, do my lap times. Actually, one more thing, my buddy Jed from JPM Motorsports hooked us up with a gripper seat, gut seat cover. So on the 450, I definitely feel like I want a gripper seat just to try to hold myself on the bike as much as I can. And then Monday, I'm getting a fresh set of Backyard Designs graphics, so I'll video that as well because the thing's going to look unreal with some backyard stuff on there. Right. We're all ready to sticker it up. Luke's going to help me out. Got the Backyard Designs kit all ready to go. Jed hooked us up, gut seat cover. Let's get into it. Make sure there's no bubbles, Michaela. I think I did 3.
Where? Which one?
I did these ones. So that's 1, 2.
No,
3.
I did those.
You did one of them.
No, I did both because you handed it to me when you went to go get the hot gun, remember? And I said, why'd you take the whole back off? I did all of this, all of that, and I'm pretty sure Luke did all of that.
Oh, and I did the swing arms.
The importance of this argument is literally nothing.
Alright, we're all stickered up. The bike's looking unreal. Thanks to Backyard Designs. We'll show you again in the morning when we got some better lights. So that's pretty well my whole build. I'm pretty pumped with how it turned out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, something a bit different. If I missed anything or if there's any questions sort of you want to know, hit us up in the comments and I'll answer whatever you want to know. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.